Hi there, welcome to episode 1 of our garden transformation video. We have no idea what we are doing. We are complete novices. If you've watched my channel closely over the years, you'll know that we kind of renovated our old cottage garden. We changed it from basically like a concrete garden to grass, and we were so happy with what we achieved there. But it was already quite a mature garden when we started the project, so this is completely new to us. We've moved into a couple-year-old new build, so it's basically, the garden is as if we've bought a new build. There's been nothing done to it. The only thing that's been done is the patio has been extended with some like gravel stones, so we are going to probably in time get that done properly, so get some proper patio slabs put down, mostly because we want our little boy to be able to ride his bike and just have a really good time. Also, if any of you have got a toddler, having little rocks everywhere, it's an absolute hazard. He just puts everything in his mouth, and it just makes outside that little bit less safe. So in time we'd like to change that. And then yeah, we are basically starting from scratch. So at the minute out there it is just grass. There is not a single plant in the ground. I think there is literally like a tree that the builders have planted just there. Other than that, it's just grass, and the grass goes all the way up to the fence. So we've been debating back and forth a lot of different things, and I just want to kind of take you along on the journey. But this is our starting point where we are just starting to get some jobs done. This is going to be probably a long process. It's not going to be like an instant overnight transformation or anything like that, but it's going to be a journey, and I'm excited for it, and I think it's going to be a really good transformation in the end. But it's totally new to us. We've got lots of obstacles to overcome. We need to try and get some better drainage in the garden, lots of different things that we are dealing with that we didn't have to deal with before, but we're excited for the journey. And I'm going to take you all along. So I'll show you my little garden design that I have made. It's basically just for this, and I'm going to say it wrong. I always say pergola, but is it pergola? Someone let me know so I don't keep saying it wrong in the future. But the guy who lived here before, he actually had this put in, and it looks really nice. We're really happy with it. But we want to give it something. It's lacking something at the minute, and we want to get some nice patio furniture. So yeah, I will show you what my like kind of plan is, and then we're going to do some jobs today, and mostly just moving things around so we can try and figure out what we actually want to do, because I think that's sometimes the hardest thing. I'm a very visual person, and I like to be able to see what I'm doing, and I'm really struggling with the vision for here. But I know once we've got it together in our heads, it's going to just be like, that's exactly what we're going to do. And it might change over the years, you know, like in our old garden, we were constantly moving things around and changing things and adding things. And yeah, I am so ready. And we're starting in the dead of winter in true K&Dom style, like we did many years ago with our old garden. So the frost thawed today, thankfully, so we can get some jobs done. But it's been so frosty, and I remember we got our fence done in our old house, and it was literally snowing as we were taking things out of the ground to make space for it. So here we are again a couple of years later doing the exact same thing, but we just want to have all the groundwork prep done so that in spring we can get things planted and things can start growing. That is the plan. This was a very impromptu garden sketch that I did. Literally, it's got a little list there from when I was doing the kitchen cupboards and trying to figure out organisation. So I just did this, and I was like, I just needed to see on paper what I wanted to do. So this is kind of the idea. This is the house. We've got the fence line at the back, and then we've got the pergola there. I want to get some really pretty outdoor furniture and a table, and that's going to be like what we're going to eat off. And get rid of the old table and chairs we've got, just because I feel like this is a much more sociable space. I want to get some nice lights to hang. Then my vision originally was to have tall things growing in the back in a little border. Rather than using this as a through space to the garden, I just kind of want to limit the through space to the garden, which might sound a bit daft, but I would rather just have one way into the garden. I think it flows a lot better that way. And I think that's what looks odd about the garden at the minute, is the fact you can kind of just get into the garden across the whole garden, if that makes any sense. I just like to add structure to a garden. So yeah, we're not sure yet, or we'll add some climbers like along the back here, We're definitely going to have some climbers, maybe some clematis or some wisteria growing up the pergola. And then we've got the arch from the old house, so we're going to grow some roses up here and have this as the access to the garden with a little border in front of the patio here. Then our son's swing set will go here as well. So that's kind of the initial idea. At the minute, as you'll have seen, we call it the coffin. There is a raised bed right here and it just feels really obstructive. So we're trying to get rid of that today. That is the plan. And then we can kind of see what space we're left with and go from there. But this is the original idea. Let's see what we actually end up with, shall we? So this is the guy in question today. So we're going to move all of this hopefully out of the way. It shouldn't be too painful a process. But as you can see, it's just like right in the middle of everything. So we'll gain so much more space here, not having it here. And we're going to move Charlie's little shed, Wendy Housey, dollhouse, playhouse, whatever it's called. I think we're going to move that over there. So that's first things first. So I thought I would start out by showing you all our garden and what we're kind of dealing with to start off with. One of the biggest issues we have, and knew we were going to have as we came into a new build property, is the garden. It's very, very waterlogged and very uneven as well. So that's going to need some attention in the future. But for now, we are just embracing what we've got. We are so happy with how much more land we've got. We've got such a wide garden compared to our previous garden, which was very long. And I'm showing you here the gaps in the fence. I don't know why the builders feel this is an appropriate thing to do. I get it, you know, they're saving on wood, but it feels so invasive. And I knew as soon as we looked around this house that if we bought it, I would need to address that because we all deserve some privacy in our gardens. And I know you're probably thinking, are you actually joking? Look at all the windows that are looking into your garden. I know we are overlooked, and for some of you that would be really off-putting. We both grew up in new builds though, and so it's just fine for us. I mean, we weren't as overlooked as this. The location of this exact plot is very overlooked. But once you're in the garden, those windows don't faze me at all, but it does faze me when I'm pushing my son on the swing and I can literally see my neighbours next door through the gaps. So that's got to be changed, which is actually a really easy solution and one that we're going to share probably on this channel. I'll probably document it as well so that I can inspire you if you're having the same issue with your fence too. But first things first, we are cracking on with removing the raised bed. I did get some questions about why we weren't keeping it, you know, why don't we grow things in it, things like that. The real reason is it's just right in the way. It's in a really bizarre place, in my opinion. It just feels like it throws the whole flow of the garden. I want to be able to use the space that this is in to walk through and have access to the garden. And you'll kind of see that come to life as, you know, time goes by and we crack on with things in the garden. I'm hoping by the end of this video you can see my vision start to come to life. We will probably reuse this wood at some point in the future, whether that's to make another raised bed or I don't really know. I don't know what the plan is yet, but we're not going to get rid of it. We are going to see if we can reuse this, and if not, then we will just sell it or, you know, give it away on Facebook, something like that. It was actually really well put together, which surprised us both, but it had been filled with our lovely soil. The quality of the soil, oh my goodness, it is literally clay. You could make clay pots with this stuff. It is so bad. So, you know, if it was me and I'd have made a raised bed, I would probably have filled it with compost. That's just me. Anyway, I think what actually happened is that, you know, some soil was displaced when they laid the gravel stones, and so it's just ended up in the raised bed, which is actually a really good use for it. But I do think we're going to have some struggles potentially in the future with clay soil, but let me know what you think down below. Obviously, I said at the start of this video, this is totally new terrain for us. We got no idea what we're doing. Our old garden was really old, you know, our soil quality was amazing. It was really easy to grow things in. This garden is so waterlogged and this soil is atrocious, so it's definitely going to need some conditioning and it's probably going to take time, but we'll see what we can do. And hopefully my main mission with this series is to inspire you if you have maybe a new build garden, or maybe a garden that you've just got and no one's ever done anything to it, or maybe it's your garden you've never done anything with yourself. I just want to show that it just takes a little bit of hard work, but but you can do it. So I think we are going to be doing most jobs in this garden by ourselves, and hopefully that can be inspiring to you. Back-breaking for us, but we will get there. So one thing we decided to do, which maybe wasn't the best idea, but who knows, we're just kind of winging it a little bit and using what we've got. We decided to mix some sand into this soil to try and break it up a little bit, because it was just literally such hard work, and we were really concerned it was going to make, you know, the same problem all over again. So here I'm just scraping the gravel away from the edge of the grass. So this edge of the patio here kind of, I don't really know if you can see, but it just follows the line of the fence. We would rather it follow the line of the pergola. And so yeah, we're just pushing those stones away. We are going to bring the border out, sort of make like a corner border in this edge here, and just put some really beautiful things like hydrangeas or just something really big and bushy and beautiful to try and I don't know, just bring a bit of life back to the garden. There was a bit of a liner underneath all of these stones, which was also not helping the waterlog problem. So Dom was trying to lift that whilst I was still tackling this raised bed. I feel like this entire video is just, it's Kay and Dom versus the raised bed, let's be honest, but we got there in the end. So yeah, lots of hard work is going into this garden today, but I feel like this is one of the main things that did need doing. And when I was editing this, I was thinking, do I share this video like not very much happens? But I've decided that I am going to do, because this is gardening. This is what trying to renovate looks like. It's just little bits and bobs here and there. We can't all do all of the things all at once. And I nearly lost a shoe many a time to this lovely bog that we call a garden. Oh my goodness. The more you walk on it, the worse it gets. It is literally atrocious. So here we are, just filling some of the holes with sand. Dom said to me this is what you're supposed to do. I don't know if sand's the right thing, maybe some sort of compost mix would be better, but basically we're just trying to give the ground a little bit of air and space to breathe, and over time hopefully this is going to help us and just bring the soil back to life. That's the hope, so that we don't have puddles. Literally, when it snowed the other week, where the swing is, we had legit ice puddles where we'd been running around making lots of puddles, and then they froze, and I thought, wow, this is something else. So I feel like summer's going to be fine, but you know, whenever it rains really heavy, we don't want to be dealing with this. So we're going to try and see what we can do, and we can only do what we can do, right? But we're gonna get there. I chopped down this dead plant, whatever it was, I don't even know what it was, but I think that the garden looks a lot better without it. Here I am again, just struggling. Every time I struggle, I'm just like, Dom, he just takes over and does 10 times better job than me. I'm not the strongest person in the world, but we make a good team, I think, me and Dom. Then came the hard graft of getting rid of all the soil off the top of these stones, which took a lot longer than I expected, to be honest. We should have known like how much soil was going to be in there, but it was so hard. If any of you have ever seen The Handmaid's Tale, I literally felt like I was in that programme just digging. I don't know if you've seen it, but like digging all of the mud and muck. It was hard going, but I'm still mixing it with sand, and it did really help to loosen it up a little bit. We are going to get some massive bags of either topsoil or compost to try and, you know, put in some borders around the sides and just use really good quality soil in hopes that helps things. But we'll see how things go as the future comes. We've got lots of research to do, and I think it's actually incredibly overwhelming trying to plan a garden from scratch, because there is literally nothing to go off. We don't really know what we're doing. You know, previously we've just been winging it, to be honest. So we're trying to put that bit more research in this time so that we don't make mistakes, expensive mistakes as well. Let's be honest, gardening is not the cheapest hobby, but we will get there, and I'm excited. I feel like this time next year this garden is going to be unrecognisable. That is the plan anyway. I literally had the world's tiniest shovel here, but I felt like I was still helping. I was doing my part, you know. Note to self, get another spade. That would be helpful. So you can kind of see our corner border coming to life a little bit there. Obviously we weren't going to do the entire thing, there was no point until we buy those big bags of soil and we dig up the grass. But I'm just pulling back the liner, and then just for now we're just going to put some gravel back over the top of this shaped hole that we've made. just so that it looks okay, no one goes flying on the tarp under there. So we're just using the displaced gravel from the other part of the garden that we just moved the gravel rocks from. Here they are. And yeah, just making it look okay. We are thinking of doing the patio potentially ourselves. Dom's got high hopes, so I mean, I'll go along with it. We'll see what we can do. I'm looking forward to that though, because these gravel rocks just do my head in. They get everywhere with the clay soil. They like stick to your shoes and you just go flying. So yeah, the next thing on my list of things I wanted to do today, it was a bit of a non-thing I suppose to do, but when we first moved in, we asked the removal guys to just put all of the pots to one side of the garden, which they did, but it's just made that bit of garden a bit unusable. So I thought, let's just line the border with plants as if they were planted in the ground, and then let's just see what that space feels like. So we thought, let's put some rocking chairs in over this way so we can kind of try and see our vision come to life a little bit. And we did lots of faffing and moving things around, and this mirror's always felt a bit random at the back of the garden there. So we moved this to here, but actually upon reflection we've decided we might put a shed there instead. So I just made this little garden here so that Charlie stops eating rocks and he can enjoy the grass instead. I got Dom to hang the mirror between the two rocking chairs, which actually looked really cute at the time. I do think these rocking chairs may move down to the bottom of the garden in time once we get our little outdoor furniture set, but we shall see. I feel like it's going to constantly be changing and evolving as time goes on. And I feel like that's a beautiful message, isn't it? Because we're all always changing and evolving in time, and you just kind of got to go with it. You've got to go with what feels good, see how you go, and then move on from there. But let me tell you, it was so nice to just spend some time in the garden. We've both found that really strange in this house. Because of there being nothing to do in the garden, there is not really a reason to go out there. When it's just the two of us anyway, so it's nice to just have something to potter on with. You'll know we spent so much time in our old garden, and I just hope that by the time summer comes we can just have this as a beautiful little oasis, add some trees, get some gorgeous big plants, and you know, start to attract some wildlife, some bees, some butterflies, all those good things, and that will make it start to feel like home out here, not just a big barren wasteland. But I was really happy with the outcome, and I hope you can start to see my vision and come back for episode 2. Who knows when that will be, but I'm excited to see where this journey takes us. That has been a chilly experience in parts, and other parts we were literally sweating, but I really hope you've enjoyed coming along for today's garden video. I know we didn't get like loads and loads done, but honestly I feel like it's helped us so much with figuring out what we actually need, what we actually want in a garden, where we actually want things to go. So we are trying to gain some privacy. I do think today we've decided that we are going to double board the fence, which will be so nice. So at the minute you can see straight through the slats, which I just really don't like. I don't know why it's even a thing. Everybody wants some privacy in their garden. Obviously we're always going to be overlooked. No amount of trees is ever going to stop that, but that's fine. But it would be so nice to just go in the garden and at least on ground level just feel like you got that sense of privacy. So that's one thing. I think we've kind of figured out where we want the border to go for the patio, and we are thinking of changing the shed, so moving the shed, and we put the rocking chairs down here, but I actually think we're going to put a shed there instead and just free up some space in the garden. And then I think we've thought now we might get a greenhouse for the bottom of the garden and maybe move the rocking chairs down to the bottom in time as well. Maybe do some sort of like a cute little decking area or patio area. I'm thinking maybe like some sort of reclaimed brick situation, just something really cute down there, because that's the sunniest part of the garden, the bottom of the garden. This corner here is the most shaded, so I said, you know, it doesn't really make sense to have any seating here because it's never ever going to get any sun in this corner really. I mean, it will at the height of summer, but generally it won't get that much. So yeah, it's given us a lot of food for thought, and I think having the plant pots sort of line where the border's going to go has been really good. Also really nice to see how many plants we already have, so definitely will help to reduce some of the cost of planting in the garden. As you saw, we've got a lot of issues with drainage and the soil, but actually mixing some sand through has helped loads, and over time we're going to start adding some like topsoil, some compost, just trying to get some nutrients and goodness back into the soil as well. So we've got lots and lots to do. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and follow along on our little journey, and we'll see where we get up to, I suppose. If you want to see some old videos from our old garden, I'll make sure I leave a playlist down below so you can watch us do that from beginning to end. Wow, it was a lot of work, and you know what, this is going to be too, but it's going to be so worth it in the end. I'm so excited to see it all done. So thank you so much for being here, thank you for watching, hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all again in my next video. Bye.